A Discord server that I was in was hosting their first ever game jam, and they decided to choose the theme In the Next Life. It's quite flexible, and a day after the jam started, my friend had given me a really great game idea for it. I had a whole vision for the game in my head ready to go, but I decided to wait a little bit before starting it. Then a day passed, and another, and another, and then I got sidetracked and I started speedrunning Undertale. And then before I knew it, they were on the last day of the jam with just a few hours left. A perfect time to start my game, I thought. So it begins. The first thing I did was make a player with the default movement template, because I have lots of time to work on movement. Then I had to make the enemies, because they're basically the main part of this game. Essentially, when you get killed by an enemy, you will become the enemy and continue your journey controlling that enemy, basically letting you move on to the next life. Yeah, like the theme. My code for this was absolutely abysmal, but now you become the enemy upon dying, and you can also use your previous body as a platforming object. That's basically the main part done, so now I just need to make art, music, and build the level. In 2 hours. As soon as that was working, I moved on to the art. It was gonna have to be very simple, so I made the most generic player possible, which also proves I've been playing too much Undertale, and a simple ground tile. The enemy is also just the player but red, because evil color, ooh. After spending way too long tweaking the animations of a literal stick man, and also adding the camera, I had to make the actual level. The platforming had to be quite simple so that I could make some interesting mechanics with the enemies. I made two types, one that walks around aimlessly, and one that shoots things from above. This gave me a decent amount of freedom with the gameplay, but before I knew it, I only had half an hour left, so I quickly threw in a very high quality ending sequence for the game, so that I could move on to the music. Honestly, half an hour is a lot of time. I easily could have composed something in this time, but I was panicking. I went to my folder of random unfinished songs from ages ago, and found a folder titled, surely this is gonna be an absolute banger, right? Why is this here? I've slowed it down a bit and I've moved the notes a little. Surely this'll sound better, right? Well, it'll have to do, because I'm paranoid and thought I needed over 20 minutes to export a web game. I got the project uploaded and now I awaited the results. I'm only competing with 8 other games, so it's very possible that I get in the top half. You're kidding! If I just made a quick 5-second loop for the music instead of... then I would have made it! I couldn't allow this, so I had to find another jam to redeem myself and get into the top 50%. A few days later, I went onto the itch.io game jam calendar and found that Jane Gam Christmas edition was running with just over a day left. I could have waited a day to do this for a higher time constraint, but like, I'm impatient and also that would be annoying, so I just got started on the game anyway. 1 day out of a 7-day game jam is still like basically the end, and I only took under 5 hours making this whole game, so it counts, I don't care. The theme was momentum, and Jam Gams have a special object, which this time was a candy cane, so I immediately had the perfect idea. Imagine getting over it, but Christmas. How am I gonna make this in 1 day, you ask? Shut up! Anyway, I made the first version of the player, and it technically worked? You can't go into multiple directions, but other than that, it works, so yeah. I very quickly moved on to textures, and I created this beautiful little Godot icon as a player. And now I had to make gameplay once again. After a little while, I realized that I had to do something about the One Direction issue, so after a bunch of testing, I planned to add the ability to hold left to invert the direction you go. Before I implemented that though, this game needed a name. The last one was unimaginative, to say the least, so I'm thinking of something big, something eye-catching, something that really like rolls off the tongue, you know? With this in mind, I naturally settled on the name Godot Gets Over It to Save Christmas or something, and made the most beautiful logo I've ever made in my life. Anyway, back to the game. I fully implemented the direction flipping, and then accidentally fixed the issue immediately after that. But like, I spent a lot of time on these arrows, and I couldn't let that 10 minutes go to waste, so I just left the feature in even though it's literally useless and it lets you cause a bunch of glitches. But it's fine! Anyway, time for music! I chose not to be lazy this time, and I actually got to work. The song had to be Christmassy, but I don't have any Christmas sounding plugins on this PC, and I wasn't bothered to get any, so I just settled on this. It's not great, but it's better than woo! Anyway, I tweaked some values, and now the candy cane clips into the floor for some reason, and it completely ruins the experience. That's nice. That's wonderful, actually. Thank you. Thank you, Godot. Thank you so much. I proceeded to build some really unfair gameplay, and I spent over an hour trying to get past this, even though I should be making the game. And then I realized, wow, this is extremely stupid. And I basically just completely covered up the pit, but it's still there. Now the length of the game went from over an hour to 3 minutes, and the gameplay has no substance. But that's okay. I made an absolutely stunning ending and submitted the project. I have an entire 24 more hours to fix all the jank, but I don't want to. It's not that bad anyway. Yeah, no, it's ready for release. After submitting, a friend of mine tried it and had some amazing feedback for— No. Could it be? I failed again. I'm forever doomed to make bad music? Is this the end? Oh, thank God. Oh. Well, the gameplay is the least of my worries. No one cares about the gameplay in a game jam. Anyway, all I have to do is make it in the top 50% of submitted games, and I'll feel better about myself. I won't get as many pity points on this one because I didn't tell them exactly how many hours the game took, and it's also a public jam, so yeah. As soon as the voting period started, I got this comment, meaning I perfectly hit the so bad it's good feeling. Maybe this was the game that would get me in the top 50%. Results day had now arrived. There were 139 entries in total. I would need at least 69th place to have been successful. I opened the jam page and found myself in 67th. I did it, but I didn't really feel that great. First I missed the mark by 1 spot, and now I made it, but just barely by 2. Surely I could do better, right? Well, it didn't matter if I could do better because I haven't uploaded in a while, so this is all you're getting. I might do this again with tighter time constraints and more game jams, so subscribe for that. Also, I might join Boss Rush Jam. Okay, bye.